Hey there, welcome to day 7 of the Get Up and Go challenge, the 40-day challenge, a free 40-day challenge to help you get up and go, to deal with change and challenges and anything that's impacting your life that you want to deal with in a more effective, more efficient way. Now, yesterday, we talked about and we took a look at our current process or our past process of how we handle change and challenges and roadblocks and obstacles and failures and stuff that happens around us and to us that we might not necessarily choose to have happen to us. Now, how's that working out for you? When I looked at this for the very first time on purpose, I was following a sudden cardiac arrest, a huge health challenge, when I really sat down and said, okay, this is not something I had even imagined was possible to happen to me, something a lot of us are looking at and facing and saying right now, how on earth could we have had our business? How could we have had our job? How could we have had our life? How could we have had our kids pulled out of school? How could have any of these things happened outside of us? And the answer is, who the hell knows? Because for the most part, we don't always know why things happen outside of us and outside of our control. But we do know that we can control how we respond to them and what we do. And sometimes how we respond to them by default isn't always in our own best interest. Me getting automatically frustrated and flying off the handle and freaking out about things not being perfect or things not being the way I expected wasn't working out very well for me. It was increasing my stress level, increasing my blood pressure, having me respond to things at a frenzied pace and be running through my life like a chicken with my head cut off. And it wasn't really serving myself, my health, my family, or my relationships, and even my businesses very well back then. So I, over time, following that health event, had some time off, forced time off, couldn't drive for 6 months and had to go to cardiac rehab it's called, where you go back and you have to go through like 3 months of learning how to actually take care of yourself and your heart in particular. So during that time, I got to spend some time learning and studying and figuring out about how to handle changes, how to handle challenges, because I was personally facing a huge challenge and a huge opportunity to change, because if I didn't change, I was literally going to be dead in 3 to 6 years. And that didn't seem like a viable option to me. So I knew I had to figure out how could I change in ways that actually worked out and felt good to me. So along my studying and along my trying to figure out what the heck I was going to do, because I had gotten into some really bad habits with respect to my physical health, I found that there were different ways to handle situations and challenges that actually worked out in my favor. And one of those things was to set goals and challenges for myself. So one of the first goals and challenges I set was that I was going to exercise every day for a year. Now, if you knew me then and had met me, you would laugh, because I hadn't really exercised hardly at all, except the minimum to get by with family activities and events for, maybe close to 2 decades. Exercise was just running through my business or running through my life. It wasn't anything intentional or on purpose or to relieve stress or to keep me moving and healthy, which was part of why I was in the current health challenge that I was in. And so everyone, of course, scoffed and laughed at that and said, that's ridiculous. You can't possibly do that. You're setting yourself up for failure. Well, one thing I have got going in my favor is I'm super duper stubborn. And if you tell me I can't do something, it's as good as done. So on the days that I really didn't want to do anything, I didn't want to exercise, I didn't want to move, I didn't want to get on the treadmill or the exercise bike or go for a walk or do anything, that was part of the fuel that motivated me to get over the hump of not wanting to do that, because I made a commitment to myself. And once we make a commitment to ourselves, I really commit and decide for ourselves, it's really hard to break that. We can make excuses to other people, but and they'll buy it hook, line, and sinker, because everybody changes their mind and doesn't want to do stuff sometimes. But if we make a real commitment and choice and tell ourselves we're going to do something, it's really hard to let ourselves off the hook, especially when we know we could do it or we could have done it. And I, pretty early on in my challenges, because I've been doing them for a long time now, told myself, if I commit to doing something, if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. So as soon as I said, okay, we're going to do a 40-day challenge, I didn't know how I was going to do every aspect of it. I had no idea. I still am kind of making it up as I go along. So let's talk about what's in me and the power of choosing a framework or a way of doing in terms of how we handle change and challenges and roadblocks and obstacles and things that are thrown at us from all other sides of our lives in a way that serves us. And over the next few days, we're going to dive into what's called the SOAP method. And I don't have my soap here, but I actually have a bar of soap with SOAP on it, because the 4 steps that we're going to use to actually break it down in terms of ingraining this framework into us is we're breaking it down into 4 steps. And so we're going to use those 4 steps. And once we do it, we're going to do it at least, I want to say 5 times over the next 40 days. We'll go through the SOAP, and we'll pick 5 different areas of our life and do it on. Because when we decide to focus on something, we can get results in days that take other people months, weeks, even years to achieve. We just have to know what that result is that we want, and then we follow the SOAP method to make sure that we get it. We can actually honor commitments to ourselves, and the more we keep our word to ourselves, the more we honor ourselves, the more confidence, the more respect we have for ourselves, the more respect and confidence we have in ourselves, the more respect and confidence we have in other people, and then effect. This is a way to ensure that no matter what happens to you and outside of you, you will end up better off after that event than before it. Now I'm telling you, I've had some super duper bad events happen in my life, and every single one of them I have been better off after than before. You know, I got divorced. Most people think getting divorced is terrible, horrible, and awful, and in some ways it is, but I made a conscious effort to ensure that I am better off out of that relationship and situation than I was during and in it. Same with some of my businesses and my business experiences. I got fired from a job before, right? A lot of people are experiencing that. Millions of people got fired from their jobs due to COVID-19 through no fault of their own, right? No one could have anticipated this pandemic, right? How many of us have even heard of the word pandemic prior to 2020? I don't think it really entered my consciousness or my vocabulary prior to this. Might have on the outskirts of my mind, but never on purpose had I heard or thought of or used the word pandemic before. And now it comes up like every day. So we want to make sure that we're setting our life up and situations up in our favor. And one of the ways to do that is to have a little toolbox, a personal toolbox of your own that you automatically call on in different situations, different aspects of your life. Emergencies in corporate America and just in people handle emergencies really, really differently, right? But emergencies in a way during the emergency are super duper valuable in any situation, right? And I learned early on in my corporate career for sure that it was important to set an example as a leader in that organization and to be able to handle emergencies. And we had a gentleman who cut his finger at work, and somebody had to find the finger in the hospital. Workers going ape shit crazy and losing their minds, and I'm like, all right, I got this. Take the finger. Took a lot of us to find the finger. I had other people cleaning up the blood and cleaning up the mess, and then I got him going, and we went to the hospital, iced it up, and then went to the hospital, and was calm through the whole situation, because losing my head like everybody else was not going to, number one, solve the problem. It was going to make Nikki more and more hysterical. Just low, and everybody else was freaking out. Being able to handle emergencies, being able to handle any situation that life throws at you in a way that serves you is always going to be better. So today, what I want you to do for your action item is think about and you learn about how you currently or how you have in the dealt with if that helps situations control this